Everyone has to remember what Napoleon Bonaparte said.
Yes.
At the onset of the 1800s, just before Battle of Waterloo. China is a sleeping dragon.
Yeah.
Don't stir it up, because once it awakens, it will shake the world.
Castro, do you mind if I call you Rene?
Yeah, please do.
Welcome, sir, to...
Can I call you Click?
Of course, absolutely. Welcome, sir, to Business and Politics, and thank you for making time. Sir, this is, I think, a privilege for us to talk to someone who briefs our security officials on the security situations that we face. And there are many issues that we'd like to talk to you about.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you gave me the opportunity to at least express my views to the wider public about how we have to consider developments that are happening abroad that will definitely have impact on us as a nation.
Sir, first,
Rene.
Rene, let me ask you first about your reading of the things that are going on. What's in the news are, of course, the EDCA sites that were revealed. I mean, at least the names were formally announced now. We have the Balikatan exercises, supposedly the biggest one of the series of those military drills. We had the resumption of the 2+2 meeting between Secretary Galvez and Secretary Manalo and their counterparts in the U.S. And of course, the other side of that is we have these tensions brewing in China with regard to its claim on Taiwan. There are many drills going on in the region. How do you see these things? Are these things to be worried about, or are these simply par for the course? What's the expert view?
Yeah, I'll say that it's a very challenging period. And this period is basically marked by an emergence of a great power who wants to basically pull its weight in the international community. Of course, I'm referring to China.
Okay.
Everyone has to remember what Napoleon Bonaparte said.
Yes.
At the onset of the 1800s, just before Battle of Waterloo.
Let the sleeping dogs lie.
China is a sleeping dragon.
Yeah.
Don't stir it up, because once it awakens, it will shake the world. Now we are witnessing this at this point in time.
Okay. And how does that impact the global politics now? I mean, are we seeing, as some say, the beginning of a new Cold War, or is that an exaggerated reaction to what is going on?
Okay.
What do you see?
China would like to basically say, I am a power to reckon with.
Okay.
The current international society has been created without me.
Okay.
Or when China, of course, was suffering from what it calls a century of shame and humiliation.
Right.
And of course, during the time of Mao Zedong up to the 1980s, 1990s, China was not a power to reckon with.
Okay.
But of course, a lot of things changed in a matter of 2 decades. China became, China has the second largest economy in the world. It created, of course, a sense of confidence that it's time for China to basically find its place in the sun.
Okay.
So that's basically what's happening. And of course, you have the reaction from a status quo superpower, the United States, that, I will not simply allow you to pull your weight around.
Okay.
You have to take into account that although I'm not part of the Indo-Pacific region, I am a resident power here, I have my interests here, I have my alliances here, and of course, I have a role as the strategic offshore balancer. I would have to basically ensure the freedom of navigation in the waters in the Western Pacific. So you have to take into account my presence. Unfortunately, of course, we are caught in the middle.
Okay. Do you think, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, Renato, that maybe there is an argument to be made for viewing China from the lens of the West? And that is, when a power rises, it becomes expansionary. And that there is not much credit given to China's history itself, where it became the Middle Kingdom, and yet its behavior was not to expand, but was to exclude the world. Everyone outside of China was essentially barbarians to to the Middle Kingdom. What do you think of that view?
For one thing, of course, if you have to look at Chinese history, China has always identified itself as an empire based on the dynasty.
Yes.
And historically, when empires are strong, they expand.
Okay.
So you look at Chinese history. starting, of course, from the Qin, Han, Sung. If you have, of course, the imperial dynasty powerful, the tendency is to expand.
Okay.
So, you know, we are at this point in time that China is strong, China is powerful, China still has this mentality that I'm the middle kingdom, I'm the middle power. Before the West came here, I maintained the tributary system, when China is, of course, the center of the region. So from the Chinese perspective, you know, there's been an anomaly because the West came here. Now we have to go back to the normal. The normal is China is the middle kingdom. China, of course, is the power to reckon with.
Right.
This is how China views the world.
Okay. Let me press you a bit.
Sure.
Renato. So, some people would say that China was more concerned, just looking at history, China would say that it has never really expanded as you were describing it. Maybe some say consolidating, right? It's you know, different kingdoms within China, but it didn't really go beyond that kingdom.
Okay.
And that the tributary thing. So we're, you know, there's another story behind it, and I guess you know, after that episode of the Chinese naval expansion in history, that they really went back and really became insular and really wanted more to isolate themselves from the rest of the world.
Yeah, probably that was the time. But you have a number of interventions that happened, of course, in the 20th century.
Okay.
Number one, of course, you have the Chinese Revolution.
Okay.
From the Chinese perspective, it's a way for us to redeem ourselves from the century of shame and humiliation.
Okay.
Plus, of course, you have the Communist Party coming into power.
Okay.
In 1949, during the creation of the you know, People's Republic of China, Mao Zedong made this speech.
Okay.
We would have to assert our power. We should never allow other powers to, of course, make China weak, or we would suffer again that century of humiliation. So this is the commitment of the Communist Party of China.
Yeah.
China should remain powerful, should remain as strong as ever. Then, of course, you have the dramatic reform initiated by Deng Xiaoping